Alright, so first I'm just gonna show you guys the equipment I use for recording, and this is basically everything I use. Here are my microphones, two SM57, and then all these things are from the AKG Rhythm Pack, so you get a D112 for the bass drum and some tom mics and two overhead mics. Sometimes I use these Studio Projects B1 for overhead or as room microphones. I have cables for everything here. Basically one cable per microphone that I plug in to this audio interface. It's a Fire Studio tube. So I use the two tube inputs for overheads. Then I have a computer. Headphones is great to listen back to see the sound you're getting. In-ears are just nice to use instead of the headphones. I use a DSLR. It's a Canon Rebel T5i. Extra battery, important. Extra memory card is important. A second lens depending on what I need and what lighting. And then this little guy here. It's basically you mount the camera on this one and then it's just easier to move around. So it's a little bit less shaky. And that's it for recording gear. Okay, so I've set everything up now and there's just a few things that I would like to go over quickly. An overall rule when recording to me, well, first of all, this is just a recording for a cover. It's not for like an album or whatever. It's not a professional studio recording. So I'm not as picky with things as I would be in the studio. So for instance, if we see the bass drum here, I've actually just put the microphone on the towel in the bass drum. That's not recommended to do necessarily, but one important rule for me is always listen with your ears and not your eyes, meaning I don't care if it looks wrong as long as it sounds good. And I've found out that if I place the microphone here, I don't have a bass drum microphone stand, so if I place it inside here on the towel, it's way better than anything else I can come up with. I get the punch and the attack. So I actually just place it on the towel in there. When it comes to like all the drums, I try to have the microphones directed towards the center of the head because that's where you hit it, that's where it's gonna make the sound. You sometimes see people having the microphone like this and that makes a way worse tom sound because you know if you hit out here and the sound out here has way more overtones, but if you have it angled too much upwards it's gonna bleed a lot more, so that's what you gotta play around with too. Again, just listen and see what you like, but I like to have it kind of weight straight towards the middle, trying to angle it away from, like if I have it here facing this way, it's gonna bleed a lot of hi-hat and snare drum, so I'm trying to have it like more towards the floor tom. It just decreases a little bit of bleed. So I just plug everything in here. On the snare drum, I have a clip here, so I actually just clipped it on the rim. That's kind of nice when you're moving around the snare drum. If you want to remove it, the microphone is still in the same place, so it's just directed towards the center underneath. Unfortunately, one of the mic stands were broken today, so this is kind of an experiment for me too. The basic rule is just what I do is I try to think of a stereo image, have both of the microphone at the same distance from the snare drum, so that one's in the center. So you just take a cable and measure, make sure it's the same length, and that's it for that. And yeah, that's what I do with miking. Unless I'm in the studio, I usually don't mic like rides and hi-hats and crashes or whatever. I just like to keep it simple for the covers. So yeah, there you have it. Alright guys, that's it for this part of the tutorial, and I hope you got at least something out of it. I'm currently just running you guys through my process and how I'm doing things and what I'm using, etc. I later on in the series try to cover things such as alternatives and tips and tricks and things like that. So the main lesson here is just experiment and play around and see what you like. What works for others might not work for you and the other way around, so looking online for guidelines is great. Try them out, and if you don't like them, then find something else. Always judge with your ears. Thank you so much for watching. You can find more details and information in the info section below. Please let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys soon for the next part of the tutorial.